Welcome to Whitetail Rendezvous Podcast. This is Bruce Hutchin, host and executive producer. Each week you will hear tips, techniques, strategies, and personal stories from some of the best and funniest whitetail hunters in North America. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you do, tell a friend on social media. If not, tell me and I'll make it better. Thanks for listening, folks. Hey, we're heading to Missouri and we're going to connect with Brad Stricker. And Brad's a unique man. He's worked hard and he's got a great business there in Missouri. And he's been able to buy a couple of farms and he's really excited about that. And he's going to tell us all about his farms, but he's also going to share how he's helping his son become a hunter and sharing the passion that he has. He's going to talk in depth about preparation, not only preparation of the land, preparation of the tree stands, preparation of food plots, but he's going to talk about mental preparation, physical preparation, how to become a world class archer. And finally, he is driven by chasing whitetails, trying to outwit them. And he, like me, has got busted a bunch of times and schooled a bunch of times. And I bet all our listeners can relate to all of that. And finally, he's a member of Red Veins Outdoors Team Members. It's a group of guys that have an opportunity. They're going to shoot 5 shows this year and submit them to the Hunt Channel and see where it goes. So sit back, relax, and enjoy Brad Stricker and hunting the Wiley Bot. Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. This is your host, Bruce Hutchin, and we're heading out to the mid-continent. We're going to head out to the Missouri area, St. Charles to be exact, and meet up with Brad Stricker. And Brad's, he's a horticulturist. He's a landscape guru, but he also is a whitetail hunter. Hey, Brad, welcome to the show.
Hi, Bruce. Thanks for having me. How you doing?
I'm doing well this afternoon, and I'm getting ready. A week from now, I'll be at 10,000 feet chasing elk. So I'm kind of getting antsy about that.
Yeah, you're going up to the Rockies, right?
Well, I live at the foot of the Rockies, and so I don't have to go. I get about 3.5 hours to head up to elk camp and then see what we can see. We'll hunt around 10,000 feet, so it'll be fun. And by the time the show airs, I'll be actually heading to the Midwest and for my fall whitetail hunt. So I'm excited about that also.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
No, we were chit chatting in the beginning of the show how we found each other on Instagram, and that's one thing social media has grown. And you've started or become involved with Red Veins. What is it? Red Veins Outdoors.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What's that all about?
I actually I was starting my own hunting team just kind of for fun, just to have a nice little group of guys hunting and kind of rooting each other on. And they reached out to me right at the time I was starting my own team, and I told them I was starting my own team, and I really appreciate the offer. As time progressed, we kind of talked a little bit, and they said, "Hey, we're going to start filming a show for the Hunt Channel, and we'd really like to have you a part of our team." And I mean, that's just an opportunity I couldn't turn down. So I stopped doing what I was doing and kind of just went all in with them on this. And it's very exciting, and it's going to be a new adventure for us all, and definitely a learning curve. Did much of the filming in the field, or as far as cameraman with me while hunting. So it's going to be a whole new ball of tricks, I think. But I'm looking forward to it, and they're definitely up for the challenge and ready to move forward with all this.
Yeah, and that's exciting. And for the listeners that are saying, well, how did that all come to be? How did they get on the Hunt Channel right away? That's a matter of spending a lot of money, or how does that work?
You know what? I think the Hunt Channel reached out to them. The guys I'm with, Chandler Davis and Gavin Leonard, they're both collegiate baseball athletes, really good baseball players. I'm not sure if that played a part in it. Maybe the Hunt Channel seen something in them through their Instagram or something, or maybe their Facebook. I'm not sure. They have quite a big following with their social media and stuff. Of really good kids. real strong faith, and just a really good outlook on life. And Chris Leonard, Gavin's dad, he's the fourth member in the Red Veins Outdoors with us, and he shoots competitively. He's killed numerous beautiful whitetails, and just a really knowledgeable guy. So I think the four of us have a really good mixture of knowledge and just what it takes to accomplish those those big goals of killing a a big beautiful buck on film and sharing it with the rest of the audience and our fans and everything.
Yeah, because hunting behind the camera is tough. I mean, or in front of the camera, pardon me. It's a hard
Both,
thing.
yeah.
Well, either or. I mean, one to get the shot, and two to take the shot.
Right.
It's a very interesting thing. Now, have you set up number of hunts, or how does that work? So you get enough B-roll and then kill shots on the air.
You know what? We're filming 5 episodes this year, and hopefully those are obviously we need five kill shots, which is, as you know, not an easy task, and your audience knows that. Some people go 2, 3, 4, 5 years without even having a kill. So myself personally, I've booked some hunts with some really good outfitters. To possibly better my chances, I guess. All free range, no high fence or anything like that. Uh, I have a pretty nice farm up in Illinois, Pike County, Illinois. I've got a lot of nice deer up there, so uh, the majority of my time I'll be hunting up there, trying to see if we can make it happen up there. My Missouri farm, I'll be bouncing back and forth. So there's going to be a lot of time in the woods, and it's tough to do it. It's tough, one, just to actually kill, two, try to make 5 episodes out of it. Between the four of us. So we're going to be hunting hard as we can, and enjoying every minute of it. Hopefully.
Now, to your own business, there's no problem to say, "Hey, I'm gone." These 3 or 4 days, I'm out of here.
Oh, yeah. That's the greatest thing about the position, and is I do own 2 companies, and I put my time in, but my guys know when it comes to fall, they know how to get a hold of me and where I'll be. So everything runs smooth. I have great employees, and same thing with my family. They're supportive with me, and they know that this is my passion, and especially my wife. She knows where my money goes, and what I like to spend it on, and where I like to spend my time. And so, yeah, very lucky to be in the position I am with work and family. Which for most people, that's the two things that stop them or hinder their time to hunt. So very, very blessed and lucky to have.
What would you say to the people, my listeners, that if they really want to get into the outdoor industry and do filming, what are 3 or 4 things that you'd say, "Hey, you really need to, do this"?
I think the one thing is social media is huge right now. I'll be 43 next week, and I'm the first one to tell you that I didn't think I would be involved in social media. It kind of came on at a time in my generation where I was like, a lot of people do it, but some people don't want to do it. It's tremendously helped me. I started Instagram about a year ago, and I found that just good quality pictures are key. People like seeing if you have a nice deer, make sure it's a really good quality picture so they can see the deer. I've learned that over the last several months. Just being yourself. And as far as my followers go, if I have a new follower, I'll kind of hit their page and make sure they're not posting stuff that I don't believe in. My all of my followers, I'm really industry based with them. I like the people that are diehard, passionate like me. I think that's one of the keys right there is just be yourself. Put your hard work out there. Post as much as you can, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or whatever. I don't do Snapchat or Twitter right now. I'm not sure how to do those, but I think that's the main thing is to put yourself out there so people see what you're doing. I guess secondly would be the one of the big things that helped me was sponsorships through Instagram. The social media based um, products and companies out there. Gerard with Rat Getter Sense was my first. I was sitting in a tree stand in Missouri last year, and he sent me a message on Instagram and said, "Hey, bud, call me. I'd like you to use my products and sponsor you." And it just blew my mind. That was my first sponsor, and it kind of snowballed from there, which is really cool. And he's got a really good company going and a lot of followers and stuff. So, if you put in your hard work, do what you're supposed to do, people will notice you. You don't have to pat yourself on the back, if that makes sense. And I think that's what happened in my case is, I was doing the right things and putting the right stuff out there, and the right people noticed. And once you get one sponsor, their followers are going to look at you, and then other sponsors are going to say, "Hey, look what this guy's doing on my product," and it just kind of just kept going from there. You know, as far as step 3 and 4, I just happened to fall into Red Veins Outdoors. I mean, that was huge to fall into something, and they they were real nice, and we did a lot of talking before we finalized the deal. But to be able to be a part of a team that's just started with the filming, and the Hunt Channel's been nice to say, "Hey, we're going to give you 5 episodes. Let's see what you guys can do." So I just was lucky to fall into that role. So, I think the main thing is just, put your hard work in, uh, do what you love, and show people what you love, and keep it interesting. And you got to remember, if you're putting something on social media, there's little kids out there looking, there's older people out there looking, just keep it relevant and clean, I guess is my main goal.
And thanks for that. Let's just turn it up to you've been hunting for a long time. Now you got your son into hunting. Let's talk about how dads can help their sons become hunters and love the sport that obviously you're passionate about, I'm passionate about, and my grandkids are fortunately passionate about. But let's talk about that and share it with the listeners.
Yeah, that's early on when my son was younger. It was I was, at the time, he'll be 19 here shortly. So I would say probably 10 years ago when I started with him. That's a real learning curve for a dad to have a son sit next to you. For one, it's very exciting, but two, it can be really annoying if you know what I'm talking about. You're trying to sit there and be quiet, and they're playing with their gloves, and they're kicking their feet, and they're tapping the side. It's a big learning curve for me, and it was hard for me to adjust because I'll be honest and admit it. I would get aggravated and be like, "Would you just stop it?" But as time went on, I was like, you know what? I can't do that. I'm trying to teach him. For one, I'm trying to teach him to be quiet while you're deer hunting, but at the same time, you can't get aggravated and make it not fun for him. So it took me just a couple times where I know I kind of got under his skin a little bit. I'd better not do that, but it's one of the biggest rewards for me as a father and a parent to to see my kids, enjoying it. And Blake, he goes up to the farm with me, and he cuts trails, he hangs the stands, and actually 2 weeks ago there was a spot at my Illinois farm, and he goes, "Dad, I think I want to put a tree stand in there, but I want to do everything myself." So he got on the bobcat with the brush hog and cleared all the land. I mean, he did everything, cleared it, disked it, fertilized it, limed it, seeded it, and we checked it. We checked it on Saturday, and it had about 2 or 3 inches of growth. And just to see that in his eyes, that he did that whole area. He's got his own camera set up. The seeds coming up. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that for me.
Well, I would certainly agree to that. That's amazing. Now let's talk about how Brad got hunting. Who took you hunting for the first time?
You know what? One of my I have a lawn care company, so the company I buy all of my lawn equipment from, Scott's Power Equipment in St. Louis. he had 1,600 acres in southeastern Illinois, almost to Kentucky, and he invited me to dove hunt one day, and I'm like, I don't really do a whole lot of hunting, and he's like, well, just come on out. So I went dove hunting. Me and my son Blake did, and then he said, he goes, hey, why don't you buy a bow and go deer hunting? And I said, all right. So I went out and just being the person I am, I went out and bought a Matthews and went out there to his farm. And the first morning I sat deer hunting with him on that property, I missed the doe the first morning. Second morning, I got one. And I mean, that's all it took. Just that, I don't know. It was just instant for me. So, I've been hunting for, I guess, about 10 years now, not as long as most people, but it got a hold of me fast and hard. I mean, I went head first into the hunting, so it's been a lot of fun, and it consumes my time. But I think it keeps everybody out of trouble. And anytime you're out in the woods and in the country and you're doing something, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that for me.
That's interesting because most kids, a father or grandfather or an uncle or something when they're, 5, 6, 10 years old. I remember in my case, Otto Knight took me out when I was, call it 10 years old, and
Hmm.
shooting grouse and shooting rabbits and chasing raccoons and that whole experience. And I kind of sort of knew where I was going with all that, and I'm still at it today, but
Uh,
to take a guy like yourself who sounds like you didn't have any parental guidance or family
uh-uh.
guidance for hunting.
No, I did. Just just a friend, business guy that I dealt with, just invited me out there, and he's taught me a lot. And there was 10 members there. Just a private little club. We all went. It was real cheap membership. We worked the ground. We did all the food plots and everything. And I didn't know it. 10 years ago is when I started, and a couple of those, all the guys up there are great, and a couple of them they're some of the best hunters I've ever been around. And I'm just a sponge when it comes to anything. Just a blue collar worker. You show me how to do it, I do it once, and I'm gonna absorb that and either do the same thing you do or maybe put a twist on it if I can find a better way. And I've learned a lot. They taught me a lot. I in my eyes, I just don't stop learning. I think if you don't learn, you're missing something. So, every day I try to. I mean, it sounds kind of cliche, but you can honestly learn something new every day if you really try and open your mind to it. There's something somewhere that you're going to be like, oh my gosh, now I know why this happened, or how you do that, or why you do that. If that makes sense to everybody. But that's the biggest thing with me is be put surrounding yourself with knowledgeable people that have the experience, that have the big bucks on their walls, and there's a reason they have them there is because they know how to do it. So anytime you see a friend or a neighbor or someone that has those big deer on the wall, you need to probably pay attention to what they're talking about and how they're doing it.
Yeah, I like what you said. Be lifetime learners because whitetails every single time I go out, and 51 years I've been chasing whitetails. I learn something new every single time. You know,
That's
I,
great. Yeah, I agree.
every single time I learn something new. Could it be wind? Could it be where they're crossing the fence and then whatever? In different properties that I hunt, but you learn something new, and that's what makes it fun because it isn't just walking the same stand, getting up in the same stand, and that deer's going to come by. He may or may not, or be it at a doe. They may or may not, and when they don't come by, they go, "Well, what's up with that?" And
Right.
something's changed, and we have to adapt just like they have to adapt, and
I
so
know it's fun, and I think that's what drives us. People that are listening, you, myself. That's what drives us is that factor of knowing uh, what did that deer do. Maybe I change my perspective to better my chances. The technology, the bows are faster and quieter. The arrows fly like field points. The guns, I mean, they shoot forever now. The camera, the trail cameras are unbelievable with the footage, the video, the clarity. There's so many tools out there now that we can put in our hands to better our chances, but you're still chasing that wild animal that you have to figure out. So, I mean, I think that's the best part of it for me is no matter what I do to prepare, you're still chasing an animal. You're still wanting this animal to come within 90 to 100 feet of you so you can get a shot. That's pretty hard to do if you ask me.
It's really hard to do because everybody that goes afield doesn't shoot a buck
No,
every year, nor are doe. And even though they
right.
spend 10 times, I don't know what the average sits are, across the country. I don't know that. If somebody does, hey, send me that to waytailrendezvous@gmail.com. I'd like to know that. I'd like to know
Right.
that average. That would be interesting. But you can go to each state and they'll say, well, so many deer were killed in Wisconsin gun season, so many deer were killed. Even out here in Colorado, so many deer or elk will be killed, during elk season and so forth. So the DNRs do a pretty good job at that, but it's just wait a minute, the odds really aren't in our favor.
No, not
They
at all.
really aren't.
No, and I mean that is the number one goal that drives me, knowing that the odds not in my favor, but I turn that around because of my background and having the farms that I have. I work those fields, trails. I work everything. I plant to just if I can better my chance by 1 or 2 or 5%, I feel like I've accomplished something. Anything you can do to get them closer, to bring them in, to hold them. That's the key, and that's what I strive to do. The day deer season's over, looking forward to the next season. That's what I do, literally planning and working nonstop on it. So
How do you build your hit list on your farms?
you know what? Illinois, my Illinois farm, it's 211 acres. I just purchased it in March 1st of this year, and it's a it's an unbelievable piece of ground. I'm surrounded by 1,300 acres, managed by a huge outfitter up in Illinois. Uh, they have restrictions of 150 and above. The one neighbor next to me, he does the same thing, 150 inches or above. So it's a real unique piece of property. It holds a lot of deer. My trail cam pictures, I have a lot of cameras up. I'm not going to tell you how many because you'll think I'm crazy.
Doesn't
but
matter.
but I pull my SD cards every 2 weeks, and now this weekend's going to be the last time I pull them because our season starts October 1st in Illinois. So I'm going to give it that 3.5, 4 weeks of nothing. I'm not going to go onto the property until I start hunting. I'll pull cards then. But I mean, there's tens of thousands of pictures I go through when I do my card pulls. So as far as creating my hit list, it's interesting because there's a few deer that I really got my eyes on that are just absolute beautiful deer. Really, at least 4.5 years old, just mature, big Pike County, Illinois brutes. I mean, these guys are huge. Um, and a few weeks ago, the weather changed up here. It went from really, really hot to low 80s. Now we're in the 70s. And it's incredible the deer that I'm seeing now, whether they're coming off my neighbor or just coming out of the corn and kind of cruising around, kind of getting their bearings straight of where they're at. Um, I would say there's 5 to 8 deer that I would literally love to have the camera on when I let that arrow go. And that's pretty impressive for 211 acres. Most people don't hold that many deer. It's just a real unique property that I. It's bizarre how I even walked. It wasn't even for sale, and I bought it. So that tells you
How did
how
that happen? How did that happen? You can share because everybody's looking. How do I get land? One, you have to have a couple bucks. Okay, everybody gets that. But how do they find the person that wants to sell? Because I hunt Buffalo County, and it's just the land is atrocious. It's just
uh,
unbelievable. How
you
much
know
they charge.
it's I actually was looking at. I actually had 600 and I think it was 642 acres picked out in Missouri, close to my farm in Missouri, that I wanted to buy. And the realtor that I was with, he goes, man, this is a really neat piece of property. And I said, you know what? Something keeps telling me to go to Pike County, Illinois, to look for land. It's an hour and a half from my house, door to door. So as everybody in the whitetail world knows, Pike County's got a pretty good reputation. There's been some downfalls in 2012 when EHD hit, but it's bouncing back fast, and there's just monster deer up there. So I almost put a contract on that Missouri farm, and I told my wife, I said, you know what? I want a farm in Illinois, so if I tag out in Missouri, I can go to Illinois hunt. If I'm in Illinois and it's snowing, I'm gonna stay up there and hunt. Not go. I wanted the option to hunt two different states, two different tags. So long story short, my realtor says, "Great, let's go to Illinois and look for some farms." So we had two planned to look at. I went and looked at both of them. The second farm I went to, the realtor for it, he goes, I'm not trying to pull no salesmanship on you, but I know a guy that has a farm 5 minutes from here. It's unbelievable. He lives in Missouri. He outfits it, and he might sell that farm. He's mentioned it to me. And I said, well, call him and see if we can go look at it. So he called him, and the guy said, sure, take him over there and look at it. Well, I fell in love with it. And the funniest story is I came home that day and I told my wife, I said, you've got to see this place. And she goes, I don't even want to look at it. It's going to be for deer hunting. You just do what you want. So I said, are you kidding me? She goes, you do what you want. I don't care. So I took my son with me, and we went up the next day. We wrote a contract and bought it. And the funny thing is, my Missouri farm is absolutely beautiful. There's a house that sits on a 5-acre lake down in the middle of the woods. And right now, my wife, she likes the Illinois farm better than the Missouri farm. And she didn't even look at it before I bought it. So it's real neat property. It's just beautiful up there. We're building a big lodge on it right now, so it might be our retirement home actually. But
Wow.
yeah, it's funny. She didn't even want to look at it. Now, possibility of living there one day. So it's
Hey,
funny
it
how
wouldn't be
things
a bad
change.
place to live.
Yeah, I agree. And then and the best thing is some friends of mine own farmland trophies up in Pike County, a big outfitter up there. Really nice guys, and I think I'm gonna. There's 1,000 acres that's available up there to lease next year, and I think him and I are going to team up on that. Just personally hunt it ourselves. Being an outfitter, you can't really hunt your own land because you don't want to harvest an animal that your paid clients are coming to hunt. So
You
I
don't want
think
to
him
take it
and I
out of inventory, that's for sure.
Right. Yeah, you got that right. So I think I think him and I are gonna lease this 1,000 acres up there, which is gonna really be neat. It's in a really good area, and it's just gonna better our chances to do what we love, go out there and chase those whitetails.
Now let's talk about preparation. You got these farms, you got a lot of stuff going on. I know you're in, the landscaping business, so you got the tools that most people have to go out and buy or figure it out. But you got the tools now. How do you prepare, you know, these farms for hunting?
You know, my my Illinois farm, there's 55 acres of row crop in the middle of it. Just these fingers that go throughout. So I cash rent that to a farmer. I think I have 7.5 acres of clover for food plots in the at the ends of these draws and fingers and stuff. And I've got about 5 acres of brassicas and rape, and I put some oats out, a little bit of rye. So, I mean, the first thing that I do every year, I don't care how good you think your ground is, the first thing I do is do a pH test. If your pH is off, then you're wasting your money on your fertilizer. You're wasting your money on basically everything, because if your pH is off, your fertilizer is not going to work. Your plants are not going to grow and be as lush as they should, which is a huge deal because anybody can grow turnips, but if you grow turnips to where they're at their best and fullest potential, I mean, that nutrition goes right into the deer. It's gonna taste better. It's there's a lot that goes into it that a lot of people just kind of pass up, and they grab the tiller, and which is fine. Not everybody has the means to do every step, but just tilling up some ground and throwing some seed down, that works. But you're not going to get the best. I don't know what the word is. If you go through all the steps, starting with your soil samples, and then adjusting your soil from that sample with your lime, and then working your ground, keeping your weeds down, hitting the right fertilizers when you need to. That's how you get those beautiful food plots that the deer are just going to absolutely annihilate at the time that they're supposed to. And again, however anybody does it is fine. Not everybody can go through all those steps because it is expensive to do everything like that. But that's my passion, being a landscaper that I am, is going through all the proper steps and just watching the whole process evolve, and the end result is an opportunity you're hoping for, to get those big deer in your plots under your stand when you're sitting there. So that's what drives me the most right there, is that preparation. By far is my favorite.
Now, how many tree stands do you have on your farms?
Um, my Missouri farm has, I think there's 21 on my Missouri farm, and I just purchased the Illinois farm 6 months ago, I guess. So I think we have 7 shooting houses, really nice shooting houses, and I think we have 19 ladder stands. And I think about 10 of them are double sets for filming, with a lock on stand behind them, really good setups, all with the lifelines and bow hangers, and they're all set up really, really nice. Um, and that's all I'm going to do for now. I'm going to finish getting them set up this actually Friday, but it's a big property. It hunts really big with the way it's set up. It's kind of hard to explain, but Pike County, Illinois, is a lot of ridge tops and a lot of ravines and these fingers that go everywhere. So you can hunt several people on this property. But being it's a new property for me, I didn't want to just throw up 40 stands, not knowing everything. So I'm just going off the heavy trails, my trail cam pictures where I see all the movement and all the traffic, and that's where I'm setting my stands right now.
Box stands mean that you muzzleload or rifle hunt the farm.
You know what? I pretty much will have a bow in my hand anytime possible. But my second favorite thing is muzzle load. Just something about that. I get a kick out of it. Um, we all know how hard it is to get that animal with your bow. So when the patience run out and gun season runs around, I'll be prepared if I need to, if I need to, I guess I should say.
Now, in Illinois, how many deer can you take?
You can get one with your bow and one with a shotgun or muzzle loader.
And number of does?
As many tags as you can buy.
Okay. Now, on your Illinois property, do you have a doe situation unbalanced herd? I guess right way to
Uh,
say it.
there is, yeah. They did pretty good management. Definitely, I need to take some does out. Yeah. I'm guessing between 10 and 15 does is what I want to take this year. I think that's going to help out. Uh, the population of deer up there is really high. It's totally different than my Missouri farm, but I'm thinking 10 to 15, maybe 20 does this year. And I think we can do that with the amount of people I'll have coming up there hunting with me and stuff. I think we can accomplish that.
Now, do you give the deer meat to the venison to food banks or give it away to
I do.
shelters?
Yeah. You know what? I give a majority of it to the food banks. They love it up there. Um, I like making sausage and deer sticks myself. I'll process a deer for myself and my family. My employees at work, they absolutely love venison, so I'll bring them a few. So yeah, it doesn't go to waste. We put it to good use for sure.
When you think about
hunting, and here you are with red veins. What does it mean to you to be in front of the camera?
Yeah, that, that's that's a funny thing my wife and I talk about because I can sit and watch a hunting. I can watch hunting shows morning till I go to bed, and that's just the way I am. And I've always told her, I'm like, I can't imagine trying to film a hunt with someone in the stand with you because it's hard enough doing it yourself. And I've always told her, I don't know how these people do it. I could never be in front of a camera. And here I am, right in the mix of it all. So, uh, but I'm excited for it. Brandon Adams with Major League Bow Hunter. He puts on a really good camera school in the summer times up in Oklahoma. So I went up there this summer and took a film school with him, and I learned a lot. There's way more involved in filming a hunt than I ever imagined, and I'm sure I'm going to make several mistakes until I get a few years under my belt. But he definitely helped me, and one of the best. I don't see anybody being much better than him as far as knowledge goes and producing shows and stuff. And so I was very lucky to be involved in that class, and I learned a lot from him. And he's a great guy. I still reach out to him with questions and stuff. So I guess we'll see how much I learned and how well I put it to use.
Yeah, when that first buck comes through and everybody says, "You gotta wait, you gotta wait, you gotta wait, you gotta wait."
Right.
Are you kidding me? I don't think
I
I
know.
don't think I wouldn't be waiting.
You know what? And I'm sure you've seen this, and your viewers have seen this, where you're watching a show and they say there wasn't enough camera light. I let him go. I'm not sure I can do that, but I guess I have to now.
Oh,
But
that's funny.
it's
That's funny.
it's going to be a new adventure, and it's going to be a lot of hard work. I mean, it's hard enough, getting up and getting going and taking your bow or your gun and your backpack to the stand, and now if you're self filming, you're carrying your camera bag, you're setting all that up, or you've got someone following you sitting there. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it that I think a lot of people don't really see.
Yeah, I guarantee people just see a guy in a tree and knows the cameraman's there, but the setups, the guys that I've talked to, both
Uh huh.
self filming and partner, a
Yeah.
partner filming in Buffalo County. All our sets are for hang-ons, and I don't do video. I
Uh
just
huh.
I don't do video.
It's gonna be a
No,
big
because
difference, but
but all our they have all the sets up, and it's just amazing, what they have to do. Even going into the stand that's already set up, the hang-on's already set up. Even that, not making noise, just keeping it quiet, not talking very much at all, because Buck's here. I mean, hear
oh yeah,
really well. Hear really well. So
yep.
you spin all that up, it's a heck of a deal. And if anybody listening, give me some comments at whitetailrendezvous@gmail.com, and I'll pass them on to Brad. But as per how best you found best of class, lessons learned and all that.
Oh,
Because
absolutely. I'd love to hear. Yeah, because I'm going to need as much advice as possible. And when you're walking in, that's enough with noise and scent and everything, and then you've got another person coming in behind you. I mean, that's just that takes your chances down considerably. Two people, trying to accomplish one person's goal. So it's going to be a tall task to hit for sure.
well, it's exciting. And why don't we just wrap the show up with your five main hunting tips, and then give some shout outs to all your sponsors, and then we're going to call it a show, Brad.
Yeah, it sounds good. Five hunting tips. I would say number one is going to be preparation, and that goes from stand locations, cutting your shooting range, getting your food plots in the ground. That's the main preparation I think that you cannot miss. Um, Another preparation is do your homework. Like we talked earlier, don't you can always learn. Watch your shows, see what other people are doing. Um, Number three, stay in tune with what's coming out, what's new. There's so many different products on the market that better your chances, that can better your chances or will. It's hard to not try something new if you think it's going to work. So just keep an open mind, and I'm the first one to say if I see something new, I'm going to buy it and try it. Um, Another thing would be, you've got to have patience. I know that's not really a preparation, but I think mentally you have to prepare to sit through the cold, through the wet, through the wind, through the heat, numerous sets, and not see anything or not get a shot or the whole season. So mentally, I think you have to prepare, be very patient. I guess the last thing is, I mentioned it a couple times to you, Bruce. My preparation starts with my family giving me the ability to hunt as much as I want, when I want, to travel and hunt, spend all my time at my farms working. So all that preparation all comes all the way down to having that freedom and the ability to do it. So I think that's my biggest part right there.
How about some shout outs and we're going to wrap the show?
Yeah, check us out, Red Veins Outdoors on Instagram, on Facebook. We're filming 5 episodes for the Hunt Channel this season. Should be great. We're excited. We've got a lot of hunts lined up, so hopefully we'll get some good footage out there for everyone. Rat Getter Sense, he was my first, and he's a great guy, Gerard, up there. See Easy Reflective Wraps, Jamie, he's an awesome guy. He's coming to my farm in Illinois to hunt in October. Sam with Titanium Archery Products, best stabilizers, suppressors on the market. I'm sure you've heard about them. Tap, they're unbelievable. Cleanse oil for my guns, veteran-based, American-made lubricants and cleaning fluids for your guns. Remington Scent, unbelievable company. Love all their products. Kryptonite targets. I don't want to forget anybody. Um, I think that's about it. Scent Crusher, they've been great. Tacticam, just joined Tacticam. I'm sure everybody knows about Tacticam. Cameras are really nice. They're easy to use, set up for your bows and your guns. Great company to work with. Rage Broadheads, Glendale Targets. Um, True Fire Releases, Trophy Ridge. The list goes on, and I appreciate all of them. All great products, and they give me that little edge and confidence I need for when that time happens. I feel like if I have the best products in my hands, I have no excuses but to blame myself if something goes wrong.
Well, Brad, I blame myself a lot of times, and so it's all part of hunting.
It
Because
is. Yep.
if
That's
it
what
was
brings us
100%,
back for more.
it was like golfing. Every time you swung at the hole and then it went in, it'd be kind of boring actually.
Right. You're right. Yep.
But thank you so much on behalf of thousands of listeners across North America.
Yeah.
Brad, just thank you so much for being a guest today, and I can't wait to see what things happen for Red Veins down the road.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Bruce. Thank you, and good luck on your hunt coming up in a week or so.
Joining us is Robbie Nickman. Robbie is Camel Thug Outdoors. What does that mean? Well, he came out of the low rent district of Baltimore and survived. He's a survivor. He's a street survivor, and he's created something called the mix. And the mix is taking the hunting world by storm. Simply because it works. It's an attractant and some minerals thrown in there. But more than that, if you read all the testimonials, the mix will get you pictures, says Dave Cagle. And pictures are what we need to take inventory of what's on our ground. And the mix does that for them. And we've used the mix in parts of Wisconsin. And I can tell you, I call them the popsicles. They work. They're an attractant that the deer love. They pick up the scent and they come and they just hammer them. And so if you got trail cameras by them, they work. So make sure you can use it in your area. But if you can, try out the mix, and you can find Robbie on Facebook and get all his information. But he's going to share who he is, what he does, how he hunts suburban deer in the state of Maryland, and how he closes the deal each fall. Sit back, relax, and enjoy Robbie Nickman from The Mix.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, where you can listen and learn from the experts so you can be more successful on your next hunt. Until next time, listen, learn, and succeed.